Here we are back again on the final mountain stage of the Tour de France. And working on this piece here. I've already got a title for it. Peter Sagan, wearing the green jersey, crashed 2 days ago and is really struggling to stay in the race, because if he's going to win his 6th green jersey, tying the record of Eric Zabel, he has to finish. If he pulls out now, it's no green jersey. It's it's fair, but it's also the cruelty of the Tour that if you don't finish the race, you don't win a category, even though you had the most points in that category when you crashed, which he does. He's actually 3 points away from the record total number of points, which is held by himself. So Sagan is off the back on the first big climb of a day of 3 big climbs. So at this point, climbing up the, where are we? Col d'Aspin? No, that's the last climb. No, the Col d'Aspin, yeah. So he's got 2 teammates back here with him, trying to make sure that he finishes the day. Because there's also, and we learned this quite explicitly in the Alps for most of the other sprinters, is there is a time limit. And I know I've talked about that before. So the big worry today is, will Sagan manage to stay in given the time limits on the day? Now he can finish up to roughly 45 minutes behind the winner of the stage, and still, well, I guess 45 minutes is the cutoff point, so to be safe he should be 44 minutes behind. And he's not racing for a position in GC, so losing 45 minutes today is not a big issue for him. Finishing is the issue. So yeah, the sprinter's jersey is not a jersey based on elapsed time at all. It's just on accumulated points and stage wins and sprint wins, etc. And I guess it's conceivable you can win it, the competition, without ever winning a stage. If you take second on every stage, you will come out the winner. So, like I said, they put 2 teammates back here with him. Daniel Oss is right here in front of him. I'm not remembering the other rider's name. But they will definitely make sure that Sagan has all the support he needs to finish the day. At this point, he is already 3 minutes behind the peloton and 7 minutes behind the leaders. At this point in the game, the peloton is the group he needs to worry about. Because most of the people in that peloton are the GC riders, and it's the time to them, and they probably won't let the other guys go. But he's just got a couple kilometers left to climb up this part of the climb, this mountain. And then he'll have a long descent to try to recruit. Now what he's fighting is he went off the road and into the woods, and as he put it, hit a large rock with his butt. I don't think he even used the word butt. So he's going to be much better with his English than he used to be. But so he has a ginormous bruise on his backside, which you can imagine riding up the mountains, riding at all with ginormous bruise on your butt has got to be incredibly excruciating. So just getting in some little last details of the roads. Always like these little hash marks. It's one of those kind of details that say European roads. Never seen them on the roads in the States. This would either be a solid line or there'd be no line at all. So one of the other riders back here with him is one of the quick step riders. So it is right now Julian Alaphilippe is just cresting the top of the mountain, who also rides for the same team. So the Wolfpack quick step are riding first and last on the stage right at this point. I don't think there's anybody behind Sagan. There could be. There still are a few other sprinters left in the race. Of course, if you're behind Sagan today, you might not be left in the race any longer. It's one of the little tricks that happen here, although you get little spots of water that hang on the brush, and I've had them roll down into the watercolor while I'm working. It can be very, whoops, I forgot to title this thing. I'm going to do that real quick before I go any further. So I thought it would be amusing to call it "The Struggle is Real." I'm going to skip that wet spot. Today is the 27th. All right. Okay, meanwhile, here I didn't get that, but I should have put those evidence of those bandages on Sagan's arms. So they do these net bandages. I've had times when, boy, I really wish I had one of those. Keeping a bandage on your arm, particularly when you're sweating, is rather difficult. So there's very little red in this image. Just a little touch of the UAE rider up ahead. Add a little bit to one of these folks in the crowd. Sagan is so proud of his rainbow jersey that even on these yellow stripes, like the green jersey, he also has his rainbow bands on his team label on the jersey. So now we'll go, speaking of green jersey, go ahead and paint the jersey. Now a lot of riders alter their kit considerably. Kit being their the uniform, the team uniform, frequently called the kit, and they'll alter it to sort of celebrate the position. And if you've noticed in the paintings I've been doing of Alaphilippe, he has polka dot gloves on, he has a polka dot hat. He's really celebrating his polka dot jersey. Now the commentators have been saying that the French really love the polka dot jersey. Now that may be because it's been closing in on 40 years since they won the yellow jersey, so we'll love what we can get. Not a bad solution. Oops, one more little stripe there. Actually, two more. So this aqua is the color of Hansgrohe. So Bora-Hansgrohe. Bora is apparently makes kitchen equipment in Germany. So I've always had a special affinity for Sagan. One, and primarily because he's an amazing bike rider. One of the things the commentators have been saying is they can't ever remember seeing Sagan in bandages, like virtually every other racer. Not uncommon, but Sagan just doesn't crash. He's an amazing bike handler. But Sagan is Slovakian, and back in the late 90s, we hosted a high school student for a year, her studying abroad, and she was Slovakian, so we became, well, naturally enamored with her, Eva Uranova, but also with Slovakia and the Slovakian culture. We haven't been, my son has, one of my sons, but we do plan to get there again. I'm sorry, my throat is really scratchy today. So now we're just going to lay in the foliage colors. And then, not that I wasn't already a Sagan fan, but he also was one of the first members of the Peloton to own one of my paintings of himself. It was given to him as a gift by Velo Voices for being the Cyclist of the Year. So I do have a picture of a very young Sagan holding a watercolor of himself done by me. And then Sagan won the first of his rainbow jerseys in 2015 here in Richmond, Virginia. And I got to watch him race. What was funny was when I was working on meetings and getting ready to do the live painting project like this, but live on site during the races, I was asked by the newspaper personnel who was going to win. And I said, quite matter-of-factly, Peter Sagan. Because it really was, of course, virtually designed for him. But Sagan did win. They were all like, wow, you knew. It's like, well, this is the sport I love and watch and pay attention to. And defend to lots of people who go, oh, it's just a bunch of dopers, which of course isn't true. There are a few, it's true, and there have been more than there are now. And there's probably one or two that are still trying to get away with something. That's been a little disheartening to see Team Sky and Chris Froome in particular getting booed. You know, there was, and I still have some questions about his Giro performance in particular, on a particular stage. I've probably talked about it. But the systems that investigate him right now have him clear, and like it or not, we have to accept those findings. Don't bother investigating people and having a board and having the board rule and then disregard what they ruled. And just as bad the other way. They found him guilty and we just disregarded that. So just laying in the final bits of foliage here. Part of what this image I was trying to capture in the drawing is this sense of this long slog, long day ahead of Sagan. Because there are, while this climb is a Cat 1, he's got a outside category climb to get over, harder still than this climb. He's actually got 2 of those, and then a cat 2. This is only a cat 1. Only as if I could climb it. So he clearly has a rough day ahead of him. So you notice sometimes I'll turn the paper just to enable a better brush stroke, better directional brush stroke, because the direction of your brush stroke really does matter. It helps create the form. If you go in the wrong direction, it can negate the form. Now I've got a nice black color-wise, but it's got too much water, so I'm going to add more pigment so that I can get a much deeper black. And black here, of course, is a descriptor. It's not truly black. It is the presence of a lot of color. Black is the presence of all color and the absence of light. White is the opposite of that. So Daniel Oss is one of those riders that wears really long hair. Sagan used to always have a ponytail, and he cleaned up his act for the tour this year. I don't know if that's... Well, no, I won't go into that. Never mind. And when Lance Armstrong was racing, he would always buzz his head because, it's interesting. It was always supposed that riders shaved their legs to reduce wind drag, but I think it's more clear that they actually do it to facilitate a more comfortable massage. Not happy with that color of blue, so I'm going to take some of the darker blue. This is... So the cerulean is what's there. So I'm mixing up a little bit of the cobalt. And the color is much more akin to the Quick Step kit. Now I got a little intense, so I just added some water and I'm now dragging the dirty brush through. There we go. There, I like that better. Alright, so we just have to do Oss's long hair. So I was talking about wind drag and hair. So really the shaved legs are more about not getting all your hairs pulled off when you do a massage or when you have bandages all over you. So, but still a lot of riders would say, well, you can't have, you need a clean shaven face because that's drag, and you need short hair because you don't want that ponytail catching wind, because drag is a big thing. Alright, that's the piece today. But a lot of riders now, including Sagan, has a beard. This is the painting. It'll be available later today at theartofcycling.blogspot.com, where these paintings, this painting, all the paintings are available. They are for sale. International shipping is included, and everything is purchased through my website, and there are direct links at the blog to Greg Leach, GreigLeach.com. Thanks for taking the time to watch, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the tour.